welcome to this video. My name's Adele and today we're talking about market research. If you're thinking of starting a business, have an established business that you'd like to expand or increase the success of, or if you have any interest in the topic of business studies, you'll be sure to get something useful from our time together today. So let's begin by looking at what we mean when we use the term market research. So simply put, market research is all about gathering information or data about people or companies, in other words a market, and then carefully looking at that data or information to better understand what that group of people needs or wants. Then the results of this market research can be used to help business owners make more informed decisions about their company and how it will run. So with that quick intro, let's dive into looking at why market research is so important and why we've made a whole video on it. So we know that one of the most important and often neglected parts of starting a business is actually conducting market research. So you might have a brilliant product at a price you feel sure is right and in a location you love, but if you don't do some market research, how can you be sure that others will value your product or service in the same way that you do? So sometimes we believe in the solution we've created so strongly, we put so much work into it, that we're so behind it and we neglect to look at the problem we're proposing to solve in sufficient detail. And that makes perfect sense, because when you've worked so hard on something and you're so passionate about it, you will typically feel like everything's lining up and it's going to do well. But let's dive a little deeper into understanding what market research is and how to do it. So we know that it's a process of gathering information about target customers. Now, a quick note that if you don't know who your target customers are, you might be watching this video very enthusiastically at a very early stage. It'd be great for you to check out our videos on the business model canvas and on mind mapping your business idea for further understanding on what we mean when we talk about customer groups. But we know who our customers are typically at this stage, and we're looking to fully understand what problem or pain they are facing and whether this inconveniences them enough that they would be open to alternatives to what is already available to them. So doing this research will also tell you what's trending or fashionable that could impact on your product's success. It'll also look at which competitors you might need to be aware of and what they are already offering. So crucially, conducting good market research is going to challenge any assumptions you've already made at an early stage, and it's going to be vital in learning lessons that enable you to develop your product or service to be the best it can be and to place it to be as successful as possible in the market. And one of the reasons I really want you to pay attention to on this is it can help you avoid really costly mistakes during your startup. So let's dive in then and take a look at the two types of research you could conduct and we recommend you conduct. Let's break them down into primary and secondary research. So primary, sometimes called field research, is the research you do yourself with those potential customers that you've identified. This will help you to find out what choices are currently available in your sector or industry. It will help you know where and how people shop for these products or services and what factors, certainly including price in that, affect their buying decisions. Now, especially as important is you can find out what's wrong or what's missing from what is already available. And then you can identify the gap which you can work within. Secondary research, so the second type we're looking at, is all the data and public records you have available to you to help you draw your own conclusions. So this is things like reports, market statistics, sales data, demographics. You can do a lot of very quick and effective research just by spending an hour on the internet. So some things you want to look at are competitors' websites, any legal aspects you might need to consider, such as suppliers, logistics, manufacturers, etc. So any groundwork you can do at this stage from home with your favourite drink, 1 hour, amazing. It will give you so much information. So now we know what the 2 types of research are, let's move on to some hints to help you get started. So there's a few effective ways of conducting your primary research and of challenging the 2 main assumptions. They are that people need what you are planning to offer or are offering, which is different to what other providers are offering, and that people are happy to pay for it. So you're going to offer something people need, they'll prefer it over what's available, and they'll be prepared to pay for it and pay enough for your business to be a success. So let's assess, first of all, the neighbourhood and the physical space you are working in by observing it. So do you live in this area? Do you know who else lives in this area? Are they families, working people, older people? Are these people within your target customer group? And what amenities are available in your chosen locality? Would people have to travel a significant way to see you or access your product? Or is it something that would sit well alongside other retailers or businesses locally? A big note that I really want you to pay attention to is there's no replacement for talking to people to get the measure of what your potential customers are and what they think. Identify people who are in your target customer segments and ask them specific questions about their past experiences purchasing or using the kind of product or service that you're selling, or the kind of service you're providing. Some really good examples of useful questions to ask include, could you tell me where you have purchased this or accessed this service before? What was your experience like there? How much have you been happy to pay for currently available product services that are a bit like this? Have you ever had difficulty accessing this product or service? What was your alternative? Is there anything you wish was available that isn't currently? So obviously you'll tailor those quick questions to match what you're offering. So if it's a service, you'll just use the word service. If it is a product, you would just use the word product. So just tailor those to fit you. And play with them, be creative, change them into your wording. Now, please ensure you write down your answers using exact words rather than paraphrasing the answers that are given to you by your customer segment. The reason is, if you go back in the future for any reason and you've written it down in your own words, it might not resonate with them, it might not ring true for them hearing the words change slightly. We're so unique in how we speak and how we process things that keeping their wording is really important. So an example would be if someone said, oh, I had a really, really rubbish experience of delivery of a product, and you said that they had a really bad experience. That might not resonate for them. Rubbish experience and bad experience might be very different to someone. And I know that sounds really nitpicky, but actually we use wording very uniquely, so keep that wording that you make a note of consistent with how it was said. And here's another really good key tip. Please don't introduce your own idea of product or service at this point. Because hypothetical questions such as, would you buy this from me? Or would you buy this? Or do you think this is a good idea? You're going to likely get what we call false positives to this type of question. It's not because people are being malicious or unkind, it's quite the opposite. Generally, you'll find people are supportive about your idea. They want to be encouraging, they want you to continue. But these positive reactions to these speculative questions based in the future, they won't necessarily lead you to purchases. And what we want is really good answers. We want your time to be used really effectively. So you're asking questions to draw out people's past experiences, because we know that people's past experiences are reflective of what they might well do in the future. Now, this might sound obvious, but it's really important to learn from that research you do. There's absolutely no point doing research if you don't use it. And it might not always be easy, because it might involve changing your plans quite a bit. And, you know, that can be heartbreaking, disappointing. It can put you off, particularly if it turns out that what you've worked on so far has been built on assumptions and they don't match with reality. If your potential customers seem satisfied with what's currently available to them, you might need to rethink whether your idea will really take off and will really be successful. Or, and this is where the power lies, could you modify your idea in some way to make it more appealing to potential buyers? And I know it may seem deflating at first if this is the case, but doing your research early is key to ensuring that your end product is the most marketable it can be and the most successful it can be, a product that you're most proud of. So at this stage, you still haven't proposed your potential product idea to your potential customers yet. So this is great. You're in a real position of power. You've not put anything out there. You've not paid for any costly test runs. You're still researching. So you can ask, is there any other way to minimise the risk of launching something that's going to be unsuccessful or going to flop? My answer to this is yes, there are things you can do. It's a great idea to do a bit of experimentation to attain some meaningful feedback on customer commitment whilst keeping your costs nice and low. So you could ask potential customers to take on a trial of your service at a reduced cost or buy an early version of your product. You could ask potential customers or supporters to contribute to a crowdfunding campaign to allow you to finance essential aspects of your new business. We'll look at some of these ideas in greater detail in our minimum value product video too, so you might like to check that out. So just to wrap up a bit of what we've talked about today, because we've covered a real lot, what we really want is to avoid setbacks and disappointments by doing some really good foundation building, some good groundwork. And setbacks and disappointments are part of this. There will be some along the way, but please remember that those will teach you the most as well. So those answers that deflate you from potential customers, the answers they give you and you feel like, oh no, that, yes, it's a setback, but it's powerful and it helps you fine-tune your product or service to really be the best in the market. So when you feel that feeling of letdown, that's going to guide you forward. Recognise that feeling as powerful, that will push you forward to be even better. And most people who are successful in business have had major setbacks. Some of the very well-known names in business, if you look at their backstories, they will have tried things in business that have flopped, gone horribly wrong, but they didn't stop. So let's take a lesson from them in that as well. So just to finish up, there are lots of free and accessible online resources that can help you to conduct good quality market research. Here's some that I'd like to recommend. There's www.marketresearch.com. There's also reportbuyer.com. They're both great places to get started. Also do consider statistics sites such as Statista, that's statista.com. Your local library will also have a wealth of information for you too. So all that's left for me to say is thanks so much for your time today. I wish you every success in your business. Please do check out other videos that we have done as part of this series. What would be great now is for you to just jot down some of the things you've got from this, You can go through it again if you want to, take some notes, come up with some action points, because this is the first step. Watching this video is your first step, but actioning it and doing it is the next thing. You might like to set yourself a deadline. You might like to bring an accountability buddy on board, a good friend, a good supporter. So you can say, hey, I'm going to spend an hour on Wednesday just looking online, doing some research. Can I send you a text when I've done that, just to keep me on track with it? Yeah, my background's in coaching, so I've got great tips on things like that. We know that when we've got an accountability buddy, we're more likely to do things. So please do make the most of what we've just gone through together. Also, schedule in your diary to watch the next video, maybe one of the ones I've mentioned in this video. So you could watch one now if you're feeling it, or just pop in your diary maybe to watch it tomorrow. And look through the list of videos we've got and maybe make a commitment to watch those at certain days and times. So the very best of luck to you. I have every faith in your success. Take care. Bye.